Let's see if they can turn two. There's one. And there's two.
These hot guys.
Hold on, I gotta do it again. Hold on, I gotta start that over. That didn't work out the way I wanted it to. We'll try that all one more time. For those of you catching the video stream at home, enjoy that. That was a little preview for you. All right, let's try that one more time.
Okay.
Let's see if they can turn two. There's one. And there's two.
Pretty big fish to fry. Pretty big fish to fry. My. Pretty big fish to fry. Pretty big fish to fry.
Oh, it is Monday, October the 10th. You are checking out the premier sports and beer podcast, coming to you from the great state of New Jersey. We have a great show for you today. Thanks very much for taking the time. This is Turn 2, the average sports fan's turn to tell you what they think about what's going on in the world of sports. Each and every week, we're joined by a distinguished panel of amateur sports fans. Today, we're joined by our resident New York Giant fan, coming to us actually from our nation's capital, Washington, D.C. We got Yampa. He's going to join us in a little while. We've had a bunch of things go on over the last week. We've decided to make a little bit of change to the show rundown. Our first pitch segment is going to change a little bit. You're used to hearing us each give a first pitch. From here going forward, because our panel keeps growing, we're going to take the opportunity to give one person the first pitch each week. So we do have some sad news to report this week about a member of the Turn 2 podcast. So we decided to make that the first pitch this week. So we'll kick it off as usual.
And good evening, everybody. And despite the fact that I have just knocked a cup of coffee in my lap and a suit that's just out of the cleaners, it's great to be home.
And his first pitch to D. Gordon is almost on the kneecaps for ball one. D just did get out of the way.
It's the first pitch.
Okay, so as I said, we're going to take a little bit of a moment here. As you know, we have a panel of people that do the show each and every week, and we each bring something different to the table. I wouldn't say talent, but something different to the table each and every week. And our buddy Sean was out on assignment, and we tried to get him to come back this week. And, well, you know, I'm just going to let him say what he has to say.
To whom this may concern, it is with a heavy heart that I announce my resignation from the Turn 2 podcast. It was a great 2 episodes. However, after being on assignment in College Station, Texas this weekend, I've chosen to pursue a different career path. These 2 days at Texas A&M have had a tremendous impact on my life, and more specifically, my perspective on commerce and trade below the Mason-Dixon line. I will be relocating from Chicago, Illinois to become either a Ford F-150 dealer or a women's shoe cobbler. Texas is suffering. They need more F-150s, and there is a threatening shortage of shoe repairmen to maintain and service the surplus of women's boots in the region. I have long considered myself a servant of this great nation, and that is what I will be doing in Texas. I will be serving a greater purpose, one that I couldn't possibly expect you or anyone else in the Northeast to understand. I wish you all the best, and if you're ever in the middle of nowhere, look up my store. These boots were made for walking, and this truck was made for pulling. It's a working title, but it's on University Boulevard next to the Wings and More. Godspeed, Sean Farrell, former college football analyst of the Turn 3 podcast. P.S. Brett, there are a lot of hot young guys down here. You would love it.
These hot guys.
All right. Well, so with a heavy heart, we accept Sean's resignation. These boots were made for walking, and these trucks were made for pulling. Godspeed, Sean. Godspeed. All right, so let's get to some actual sports action. Let's bring in our resident New York Giant expert, Yampo. Yampo, you're joining us from the nation's capital. What's going on?
How you guys doing?
What's up, buddy?
Long time. Glad to reconnect with you fellas from a distance.
Yeah, so we had talked about bringing you on. I guess, why don't you give us the impetus as to why you wanted to join us and give the voice to the Giant fan? Because we do have, I don't know if you know this, we have a resident Giant fan that sits on our panel normally in RAS. So,
Oh, I didn't realize that because, interestingly enough, his analysis is pretty thin and his banter pretty short. In fact, he sounds to be a bigger Vikings fan than a Giants fan.
That's why we have you now.
Glad to be here. Glad to help and add some insight, hopefully.
well, and to be fair, if you're going to pick a team to be a fan of right now, the Vikings appear to be a better pick than the Giants do.
That's a fact for sure.
Which has got to be disappointing in your neck of the woods.
Yeah, not good.
All right, Brett. So yesterday during the NFL, the 1 o'clock games, I'm sitting down on my couch. I'm watching my team just totally, crap to bed as they do each and every week. And I get a text message from your wife, of all people, at the end of the game saying, be prepared for your podcast tomorrow because all I've been hearing since noon is how blessed I am at the opportunity to watch greatness at Tom Brady. So I threatened her with the mute button that I would throw at you all week, but we're going to throw it to you. You're going to lead us off. Your boy's back. Say what you got to say.
Yeah, she that is true. I can't believe she sold me down the river with that. Yeah, she had to hear. It probably even went back to Saturday night. I was probably telling her how amped up I was about
You have so much going on.
About the Pats, and Brady coming back. It was great. I mean, in a lot of ways, it was exactly what everybody expected it to be, Patriot fans. I think
Yes, 3 touchdowns to Martellus Bennett is exactly what a Patriot fan expected.
Black unicorn. We were all expecting that.
without him, though, like those touchdowns without him normally go to Gronk. I mean, and I wouldn't have been surprised if without Bennett on this team, that's 3 touchdowns to Gronk in his first game back, and they run that.
But let me ask you, before you go any further, let me ask you this. Does this mean in like 13 months, Martellus Bennett's going to get arrested for killing people?
It's a bummer because watching Sunday's game, you kind of go, oh, man, we used to have this. But then the other guy was a scumbag murderer. So it's kind of tough. But it did take you back to that season, to 2011, 2012, watching the two of those guys run. It was fantastic. I feel like
Who guys? What guys?
these hot guys,
Is that what you mean?
those 2 hot guys on the Patriots, it's funny because I feel like their offense is already geared up and ready to go with Brady just coming back and for one game. I mean, Chris Hogan looked like amazing yesterday. He was catching passes. I was like, thank God we have that guy.
WWE Hall of Famer, Chris Hogan.
Yes, WWE Hall of Famer.
Brother.
I feel good. I mean, the Browns. It was the Browns. Whatever. I expected to beat them. I think there's another good opportunity for a win coming up this week in Cincinnati. That's what really everybody should be focused on right now. And you're going to go play that game, and hopefully you come out with a win. And the Pats are sitting at 5-1 up top the AFC East. I was pulling hard for the LA Rams yesterday in the late game to try and take down the Bills, to just kind of make sure everyone else in the division took an L yesterday.
So you were the one that was watching the LA Rams Bills game?
It was me. We should actually talk about that a little bit. Not to diverge off into into tangents here, but I don't know if you guys have been seeing this. I've been seeing this a lot, that the NFL, their ratings are down this year. And for a product that we all keep talking about that rules this country, it's never good. It's like when you hear like Apple stock starts declining and you're like, why? Why is the biggest company in the world declining? So why is the NFL declining? What do you guys think right now through 5 weeks?
I don't know. I mean, I think, to be honest with you, it's difficult for me to answer that question because my team is so bad. So right now, in the beginning of the year, I'm so focused on my team that I haven't really paid attention to the ratings. I don't really have a good sense of it. I know I look at a couple of the teams that are, we'll get to this in a while, that are surprising. Like Dallas, I would have to imagine always draws a good audience, but they're playing above and beyond what everybody expected them to with their quarterback out. So I don't know. It's difficult, especially with them being back in the second biggest market, and the Rams are good. Like it's not like the Rams are playing poorly. So I don't know. I don't really.
They're good defensively. I think they're a pretty good defensive team. I'm not sold on Case Keenum.
No, but they're not 0-5.
No, they're certainly not. I just Yampa, what do you have any ideas, thoughts, and feelings on why these ratings could be down for the NFL this year? Oh, he might want to turn on his mic.
Yeah, that might be helpful. Try that. I don't know. I mean, you're looking at these teams, right? You got the Redskins and the Ravens game. I can't imagine that anywhere outside of those two markets that anybody was watching that game.
Probably not. But I was never sold on the Ravens in the first place. I mean, I remember we had our discussion 2 weeks ago on the podcast that was undefeated teams at that point, and I remember I was like, get the Ravens and get the Eagles out of here. Bye-bye. I'm not sold on either of those teams. So it's not like Baltimore's terribly exciting.
Right.
To me, Washington used to have fantasy purposes. I'm a big Kirk Cousins guy. Yeah, you'd be surprised if you just look at him, like look at his actual numbers. He can carry your team as a quarterback. He never really turns into dud, and he just throws up consistent performances. So does Carr in Oakland. They're like two guys that I love to just like wait on a QB in a fantasy draft and get pretty much similar production than any other starting 10 quarterback. So I'm a big Kirk Cousins guy. So when I used to have him on my team, I don't anymore. I would watch the Redskins, but outside of that, I mean, they don't even really carry a lot of fantasy value. Neither of those teams much. So kind of stinks.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, could it have something to do with retirements? Like, would that matter? Do you think that the fact that Peyton's not playing, could that have affected it at all?
I think it would probably be ignorant to say Peyton Manning leaving had zero effect on football viewers, but I don't know if it's like the big dent that it is to knock ratings significantly down a little tick to where it's noticeable. I think that's probably the rub.
All right. Well, I mean, I don't know. I mean, is there any other takeaway you had from just to jump away from that tangent? Any other takeaway you had from your game? You are the resident Pats guy. Anything besides, the pitches and catches to the unicorn?
No, it was a good. I thought Brady, for his first game back to put up 405, 406 yards was pretty impressive. He looked on the same page as his offense. If he's got those guys and they're healthy going forward and they can stay healthy, I'm very excited to see what this offense does. I need to see a little more out of the defense. They did play pretty hard yesterday. They held the league's leading rusher or rushing team, I forget which one they are, to like 27 yards on 22 carries or something like that. So that was very impressive from the defense to stop the run like that and make, third string, fourth string quarterbacks try and beat you. So I think that was a pretty smart, game plan and design by Belichick, obviously, as he tends to naturally do. Going forward, I know they got Cincinnati coming this week, kind of focused on them. If they can shut down A.J. Green, I think they're going to be in good shape. So I'm very excited about them. I'm very excited about the season. Just it all depends on health, as any team in football.
Well, and A.J. Green, right, going into this week, everybody assumed that he was just going to have a lights-out game, but he was kind of held in check on this last.
Yeah, and that was, much to my chagrin as a, as an owner of him in fantasy.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's the game plan. And I'll talk. You know what? I'll touch on Cincinnati in a little bit when we go through our surprises because I kind of want to talk about them.
Yeah, why don't we go there now? I mean, we got
All right.
a couple of teams that are doing some things that maybe we didn't expect. So why don't you just kind of run down the list of who you're actually surprised by?
I'm surprised by Cincinnati. They were kind of where I wanted to start because they had a really good defense last year. And I was, I just thought with Andy Dalton and AJ Green and Jeremy Hill running the ball, they were going to be able to, score enough points and hold enough good teams in check that they were going to be, in the mix there come at the end of the season, just like they were last year. So I was very, I'm surprised by them through 5 weeks. I'm surprised, not surprised because I've been on their bandwagon since week 1. But if you look up at the top of the AFC West standings, who's sitting there but the Oakland Raiders? And I love to see that. They had another great push yesterday. Big fan of the Raiders, but I mean, that to me, that's surprising in the fact that early this year, no one really went after the Raiders or started targeting the Raiders as a force to be reckoned with. So it's nice to see them. I think almost actually the top and bottom team in the NFC East, the Cowboys surprise me and the Giants surprise me right now. Giants for, obvious reasons that we can all touch about and talk about in a little bit. The Cowboys from the fact that their star quarterback went down, but that offensive line is allowing, a rookie running back in Ezekiel Elliott to just tear up, pretty much week after week and gain them significant yards and put them in a lot of second and shorts and third and shorts, which allows Prescott to kind of just sit back and, make comfortable throws. And that's what they need from him right now. Just steer the ship. Don't be bigger than you are. Make the plays that you have to make. They won't make it too hard. Read half the field. And he's doing that very successfully. And that's put Dallas in a really good position. I'll be interested to see what they do with Tony Romo when he comes back, because in my opinion, I'm not going to start him, but I think I'm in the minority with that. The Vikings are obviously
They're going to start him though.
If they go into this game, when's Romo supposed to come back? Well,
they didn't put him on IR, so he can come back at any time. He can come back next week if they deem him healthy enough.
Right, and I'm sure that chatter will probably start to pick up more once the Cowboys lose their next game. But if the Cowboys are sitting at 7-1, are you really going to take Dak out to put in Tony Romo? Because I wouldn't. I mean, I think I'm in the minority though. I said that from the beginning. I just wouldn't do it. I like the way their offense looks right now, and Tony Romo, I feel like he's a great insurance policy. If you're in a game late in the season, maybe, and, you're behind at halftime and you really need to win the game, bring Tony in for the second half, spark the team, rally them to victory. Then you can maybe go from there. Minnesota is another team that I got to say I'm surprised about because I just, everybody knows about their defense. So I'm still not sold on Sam Bradford after a small 4 or 5 game sample, but they are 5-0 with an excellent defense. So they're going to be tough to stop. Remind me a lot of Denver from last year. And I think as far as surprises, the rest of it all makes kind of sense to me. The Panthers at 1-3, they're playing tonight, so we'll see what happens. I don't really know.
No Cam, right?
No Cam. So, that can't help them.
That division is wacky to me, right? I mean, you got Atlanta sitting at the top at 4-1, and then you've got just a bunch of slop underneath it. I mean, and New Orleans. The fact that New Orleans is so bad, it kind of surprises me too.
New Orleans being bad doesn't surprise me because,
I think I mean more over the last couple of years. The fact that they've continued to be bad.
Yeah, well, that's really their defense. That's them not really being able to stop anybody the past couple of years and getting into shootouts. And Breeze, he's a good quarterback, man, but he can't win all of those games.
Well, not by himself, yeah.
Exactly. And so he's not, and he's on his way out. He's on his back 9. So
I had said going into this year, to be honest with you, I had said, it'd be interesting to see if the Jets actually pulled the trigger and and got Drew Brees. I would like to think that they would be better than they are now if they had him. But
yeah, yes, the answer unequivocally is yes, they would be better.
I don't know. I mean, I know. You know what? Screw it. Let's just do it now. I think that they are maybe the worst coach team in football right now. The
You
Jets
think the Jets are the worst coach team in football?
right now. Like I don't know that they'll continue to be, but I look at their roster and I see the talent on both sides of the ball, and just the complete and utter inability to make any kind of in-game adjustment or any adjustment from week to week. I mean, how many weeks do Paul and I have to get on here and say the same things? I mean, if two guys that don't know anything about, pro football are saying the same things over and over again, something's up. So
I know, but I mean, what you guys are 10-6 last year?
yeah, but you had a journeyman quarterback have a match
Yes.
year. I mean, without all that junk, you're an average team at best.
I think what was a little bit worked in the favor of the Jets last year were two things for the fan base, and tell me if I'm wrong. From the fan perspective, was you had a new journeyman quarterback play lights out, really have a career year, and it's easy to get used to that feeling. So you get that, you buy into that, and you want that. And also your schedule, you play the teams on your schedule. So good for them winning the games. They deserve to win all 10 that they won.
Last year you're talking about, yeah.
Yeah, but their schedule was light last year, in my opinion. It was a little soft. And I think, they went out and executed and won the games, but I think their schedule tends to lean the other way this year. And
Oh, yeah, no, I totally agree with you. I don't think you're speaking out of school with any of that.
so now it's really becoming a bit of a slap in the face to fans, because you're like, oh man, maybe we're not as good as I thought we were. And that stinks. That's a tough
You also got to
realization.
remember, you're talking about Jet fans. So there's no Jet fan on earth that thinks that they are going to do well on any given year.
There's no rational Jet fan on earth, but there are Jet fans, and I even see it on stupid Facebook feeds where people are just like, team's looking good coming out of camp this year, looking like if the schedule breaks right, 14-2, 13-3, worst case scenario. And you're like, come on, man. Like, what are you talking about? But
well, I mean, realistically, obviously we do a sports and beer podcast out of the New York area. So, and I'm a Jet fan, so we'll continue to talk about them.
Good.
But
That's a shame.
it is a shame because, I when you look at Bowles, he looks more like Rich Kotite than he does, Bill Parcells. So at a certain point, they're unwatchable. And so it becomes, in typical Jet fan fashion, let's root to see how poorly our team can do, to see what kind of draft pick we can only boo on draft night. I mean, that's essentially what we become.
You guys are a classy bunch. I just want to say, first and foremost, technology is a beautiful thing. So it's good to be with you guys.
Yeah.
Secondly, 2 fights ever in my NFL career. And by NFL career, I mean as a fan. 1 against a Jet fan on Christmas Eve. Real holiday spirit, those Jets fans. Eve against the Redskins.
Who are the? Was it a Jet Giant game
Oh, it was a Jet Giant game.
on Christmas Eve?
I was spreading holiday cheer of Victor Cruz's 99-yard touchdown. Didn't go over very well.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I mean, because I know you, I wouldn't fight you. But if you were the guy that was yelling at me after a 99-yard victory, I would consider punching you.
Yeah, well, deservedly so.
No, totally. All right. Well, listen, we haven't touched on the Giants. It's the big reason why we brought you in here.
No pressure.
I'm
one of the many big reasons.
I'm done talking about the Jets, man. I can't do it anymore. I can't listen to it. So
I feel you, Jeff. I feel you. I think the Giants have, although they have had a few successful seasons, and by successful I mean Super Bowl champs. Brett, you know what I'm talking about.
Don't remember.
Tom Brady. I think that week in and week out, the Giants tend to underachieve as of the last 4 years. And, you look at a team coming off a loss against a Minnesota team who's possibly the best team in the league. They're traveling to Green Bay. Offense is going to break out according to McAdoo. And what do? less than 200 yards passing against the 29th ranked passing defense of the Packers with 2 of their starting cornerbacks out. I mean, this is becoming textbook Giants football. Poor penalties at drive-killing times. The offensive line is atrocious. Eli gets happy feet, and that guy is just terrible when he has to get rid of the ball. When he's standing with pressure in his face, he's a totally different quarterback. I don't know if you guys watch a lot of Giants games, but if Eli has time to sit back there, he's normally fairly decent. But when he's got guys coming down his neck, he's throwing the ball everywhere, up in the air, out of bounds, into the ground. It's frustrating to watch.
Well, you've seen what the guy can do when he's got time. I mean,
you expect him to win the game with 2 minutes left.
Yeah, and he's won Super Bowls. I mean, say whatever you want, and this is not to pour salt in Brett's wound, but I mean the guy's beaten what's arguably the most successful franchise in the last 30 years in any sport twice in the biggest game that there is to play,
and looked cool as a cucumber doing it. By the way,
so the guy when he's protected, he can do almost anything on the field.
That was the thing that kind of struck me. Dave, I don't know if you feel this way. Yesterday or last night, I guess, Eli looked uneasy to me. He, aside from that Will Tye drop that I guess probably should have been a touchdown close to the first half.
A bad throw, though.
It wasn't a bad throw. It wasn't a great throw.
Will Tye also loves to make every catch look like the hardest catch of all.
Yeah, I don't think that was that hard. I just feel like Eli looked uneasy, man. Like, he didn't look comfortable. You were right about happy feet before. Like, he just, I don't know. He didn't look accurate. He didn't look like Eli.
Pressure, and he doesn't respond well to it. And when teams get to him early, he becomes a rattled quarterback. When Eric Flowers, who is probably the worst draft pick the Giants have taken in the last 3 years. I don't know how they took that guy in the first round with a top 10 pick. Coming out of school, the biggest knock on him was that he holds, and that's what he did for half the game last night. And so
when he wasn't letting guys get by him, he was holding them.
Exactly. And so Eli senses that, and he becomes unraveled. And the other thing is, the Giants don't have a running game, and when teams are playing you with that cover 2, protecting the deep ball against Odell, you got to have a tight end play. And you got to have a running game, and their running game right now is 26th in the league. It's not good, and with guys like Martellus Bennett who come there for a year, play well, and then they let them walk. I don't get it. They don't have a tight end. They haven't had one since Bennett.
Well, and that's the thing too. Like I remember when Bennett was there, he was like the last on that string of guys that went there that Eli made money.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
Who was the clown that he made money for that went to Jokeland after he left?
Jeremy Shockey.
No. Hey, bite your tongue. Jake Ballard or Kevin Boss. Kevin Boss went to Kansas City.
Yeah, I mean he made some tight ends in this league some serious money. I mean you went to the Giants and the offense was built around featuring the tight end, and I only recognize that because, like I've said, week in and week out here, my football team refuses to acknowledge that the tight end exists. So,
similar issues on defense and offense.
Well, that's the thing, though, is you look at Eli, and he has these just polar opposite moments. And I don't know if there's ever been a greater player in any sport that can look as good as he looks and look as lost as he looks within the same drive.
It's a great assessment, and I think the overthrow to Tye followed by the fumble, that 2-play swing last night just totally encapsulates the Giants' season. They're up 1 minute, down the next, and very inconsistent. 18th overall in offense, 18th in defense. They're very mediocre and very average.
Which is not where you want to be in the NFL.
No, sir.
In the NFL, you want to be in the top echelon, or you want to be absolutely terrible.
Which is, really annoying to have to hear Brett week after week talk about the Patriots. Although I will say I won money on your confidence, Brett. So thank you for that. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I should take, what's that, a VIG?
You don't deserve a VIG.
Yeah. You're a VIG, all right.
You're a real VIG.
You're a real VIG.
These hot guys.
It's perfect.
Preach.
Preach on. So, the long story short of it is that both New York teams are pretty hard to watch right now. And, you look around the league and, Dave, we were talking about different surprises that we had for each of them. Brett ran through his list. To me, my biggest surprise is probably Arizona. I'm really surprised that they're playing as poorly as they are. I know Warner Not Warner. I know that Palmer was out. Warner's been out for a couple years. I know that Palmer was out.
Does it say, was Rask given this insight?
But they had, I mean, talk about my team that had expectations of being decent. This team had Super Bowl expectations, and they've just been really, really bad. So good news for them is they have an elixir coming in on Monday night in green and white uniforms that they'll probably just destroy.
Is that game in the Meadowlands or out in Arizona?
Oh, no, it's out in Arizona. So
Yeah, if they were traveling here, I'd say you had a chance, but
no, we don't.
I'd say surprise-wise this year, I mean, it is surprising to see the two teams from the NFC Championship game playing so poorly. I'm particularly surprised about how poorly Carolina's playing. But I think a good surprise is Oakland Raiders. I think I love what Jack Del Rio's done out there. Derek Carr and Cooper and Crabtree, and I think they got a good thing going.
And Crabtree's kind of found a home there, huh? Like he was kind of on San Francisco. I wasn't necessarily sold on him, but he's looked really good this year.
Yeah, I think he complements Cooper well, and I think they've done a really good job. And you got to give Jack Del Rio a lot of credit for what he's done out there, turning that team around. They're competing for the West. And I don't think anybody saw that coming.
I didn't. I definitely didn't.
I know Ras did.
Yeah,
he was on it.
I'm pretty confident. He's not here, so we won't throw too much dirt on him, but I'm pretty confident that Ras couldn't name one player on the Oakland Raiders.
Bo Jackson.
I don't even think he would pull that. I really don't.
Well, he might because he sees the commercial.
Yeah, he saw the commercial. That's true.
For those of you listening, Ras is off tonight. He's at a very huge business meeting, so he's taking care of business.
I don't know if I could have handled a second resignation.
No, it would have broken my heart. Let's do it. I mean, we're a quarter of the way through the season, so let's do some predictions as to what you see for the next quarter. So that'll take us to the halfway poll. Do you think anything changes? Do you think any teams turning them around? Yemp, I'll throw it to you. I mean, you can stay with some local teams if you want, or you can go kind of outside the spectrum. What do you see for the next quarter?
Yeah, I think local wise, our teams are both in the cellar, Jeff. So I don't really want to focus too much on the NFC, AFC East.
Good.
I think it's going to be interesting to see how Denver and Oakland go down the stretch. I think it's going to be interesting to see what happens with the AFC Central. You got a Colts team who seems to hang around, make poor decisions. They're 2-3. That division's kind of a hot mess. We should see what happens there.
I think they stink.
Yeah, I don't think they're very good either. I think if good teams are going to figure out how to shut down T.Y. Hilton, and that's their whole offense.
And they can't block at all. Like Andrew Luck might get killed.
I've seen that movie before.
Yeah.
And I think also, I think it's going to be interesting. I really wish the AFC would get some new characters. I'm tired of seeing Pittsburgh and Brett's Patriots every year after year. I mean, you got to give those teams credit for building dynasty like that, if you will. But we need some parity.
They're just so well run. It's like
they are. It's so frustrating.
I mean, I'm at the point right now where I'm ready to cut bait on my coach, and those two organizations, they just don't cut bait. They just don't do it. They're just like, no, this is our guy, and they'll figure it out.
They're like your friend who never puts himself in a position to make a poor decision, and
I don't know.
You just don't understand how that happens.
I'm not quite familiar with any of those people, to be honest with you.
I think I might know one.
Brett, you have any takeaways for the next quarter besides you think your team going undefeated?
They're definitely not going to go undefeated. They got a nice little stretch coming up. I think. Whatever, you guys don't care about them, but
I don't mean obviously they can't go undefeated for the year. I mean for the next quarter of the season until we get to the halfway mark. Do you think they're going to lose a game?
I do. I think we can handle Cincinnati this week. Just got to play your game. But they're going to Pittsburgh the following week, and that's going to be a tough one. And then they have then they go to Buffalo, and we're going to get some revenge on Rex. You mark my words there. So, and then that's going to take them into the bye. I probably see them halfway through the season going into the bye at 6-2, and get everybody healthy at the bye, and then we'll gear up and come out of the bye against an awful 49er team.
Actually, you come off the bye against it.
Oh, Seattle. Yeah, I'm sorry. And then we have an awful 49er team.
You have Seattle at home.
Yeah. So. I don't know. Well, just get me to the bye week. Make sure everyone's healthy. That's all I'm really.
I'm going to read to you the Patriots schedule out of the bye.
Okay.
You got Seattle at home on Sunday Night Football.
Yes.
You're going to the West Coast to play just a really bad San Francisco team. Then you come back and you play again on Sunday Night Football at the Jets.
Jets, baby.
Then you host the Rams,
Yes.
host Baltimore,
Yes.
at Denver,
Yes.
host the Jets, and finish up at Miami.
I mean, I only got one loss there,
I agree.
Denver?
potentially.
I don't even think it's Denver. I think you might lose to Seattle.
Maybe.
But you're coming off a bye, so Belichick's not going to lose off a bye.
Yeah, I mean that's a big rub there. I don't know. I don't like playing win loss.
You know what it'll be? You'll lose.
Yeah, sure you don't.
You'll lose January 1st to the Dolphins because you'll have already clinched the number 1 seed.
If they clinch the number 1 seed, they can do that. But stupid, last year we played the Dolphins, and Belichick, I swear, he didn't take the game seriously. And they wound up losing, and they lost the number 1 seed, and they wound up number 2, and had to play a stupid AFC title game in Denver. And I'm just bitter about that. But
Well, I mean, if Tom Brady was good enough, he could win on the road.
that is true. You got to win the game, right? But
That's why you play them. I don't know if you know that. You played them in the game.
you do. Somebody said that, right? I don't know.
Good old Herm. Good old Herm.
Everybody else coming out, I don't really, I don't know you guys don't want to spend any time talking about the AFC East, but I'm curious. I don't know how, but I'm curious to see how Atlanta rocks the next quarter of the season. That'll kind of tell me if they're real players in this game, because they went in and beat, a defending Super Bowl champion in Denver yesterday, and that was an impressive win. It took them to 4-1, and I just feel like I'm never confident in Atlanta. I never ever think they're as good as their record says they are, even when like Matt Ryan's crushing them and there's 12-4, and then they get knocked out in the first round of the playoffs because he goes like 7 for 38 with 4 interceptions in the playoffs. So I'm curious that these next 4 games, the next quarter will really tell me a lot about Atlanta. So I'm curious to see that too.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, football's over. All right. So the only thing you can possibly do after you've spent the last 25 minutes discussing New York professional football is drink. So we're going to break out one of my favorite throwback beers, which is crazy to even say this. But Brett, you put the October list together, so
I did.
Break it down for us. What do we got this week?
This week we are enjoying Samuel Adams Oktoberfest. Now, this beer, I guess, kind of starts out. We talked a lot last week, or I talked specifically last week about Southern Tier, really, the pumpkin being the first beer that kind of changed my way, that I was like, oh my God, they can make beers that taste like this. I can taste like pumpkin pie with a buttery crust. That's insane. But this beer was one of the first times I saw a beer company do like a themed seasonal type of thing. And it's really this like dark, malty Oktoberfest beer that kind of really made me go for the first time, oh wow, I didn't know that you could do this either. I didn't know you can make things kind of taste like the time of year. It was very impressive to me. It is, they're one of the OGs in this game. So that beer's been around since the beginning, and there's been 10 million copycats since. Some people have done it better. Some people have done it way, way, way worse. But there's nothing insane about it in terms of taste. It's not going to be something that you're going to go, oh my God, I can't believe this. But for a person that's looking to get into different styles of drinking, different beers, this is a good go-to seasonal that you kind of want to start with. So I don't know how you guys feel about it, but I'll always have some love for Sam Adams and Oktoberfest.
Yeah. I totally agree. I mean, Sam Adams Oktoberfest is like I said, it's one of the first beers that I had that really was like welcome to a different beer drinking experience. And I know that sounds completely hyperbolic and lame, but it's really true. So for me, it's like a go-to. And I was actually talking to my wife about it before, because I brought it home today, and she's like, I haven't had one of those in a really long time. I'm like, yeah, me either, because it kind of gets forgotten about, right? I mean, there's so many different things out there now that you kind of forget about, good old Sam Adams. It's one of those things that just always seems to be there. But for me, if somebody has it and we go to a party and there's a Sam Adams Oktoberfest there, I'm picking it up and I'm drinking it. And it's halftime and we got beer, and so Paul has joined us. So welcome, Paul.
Was I on mute this whole time? It's crazy.
We have had some technical issues tonight, so it is entirely possible.
Yeah, Sam Oktoberfest. You kind of get into Sam, and you're talking about kind of like the original craft beer experience. It's kind of the first one that we probably had, and maybe we weren't 21 yet, but that's fine.
I was.
No, you weren't. Well, maybe because you're so much older than all of us.
Me and Dan Boland had them together.
Dan Boland was 21 when we were in 8th grade.
Yeah.
But, Oktoberfest, Sam does it pretty well. Like you guys said, it's the OG. It's the original craft beer seasonal brew that we kind of all jumped in on and, try to have a couple each year.
What do you think, Dave?
Oktoberfest. Oof. Boy, do I love beer. But I will tell you this, Brett. Before you got all bougie with your craft beers.
Yes. The OG.
To drink 20 pounds of pumpkin. So I'm throwing you guys a curveball. I ran out of Oktoberfest. I'm going Paul's favorite, 20 pounds of pumpkin, because the kid loves pumpkin beer.
True.
That's great, man.
Oktoberfest was delicious. Hold on, this one's pretty good too. All right.
The good news is you ran out of Oktoberfest. That means you loved it so much you drank.
The bad news is, I think you're an alcoholic.
That's actually the good news.
Hang on.
These hot guys.
So
These hot guys love 20 pounds of pumpkin.
yeah, love pumpkin. 20 pounds, Dingleberry. But here's a little fun experiment that I want to throw at you guys. So one of the first times I had been exposed to Sam Adams actually was my mother actually used to drink the original Sam Adams. And so now we're going back probably in 98, right? 98 or 99.
Yeah.
So if you were to take a guess, maybe you guys have kept on it, but if you take a guess what Sam Adams stock price is right now, where do you think it would fall?
They're public.
Oh, yeah.
Brett, you should be all over this.
I have no idea. I don't know. $60.
$72.50.
Prudential, Paul?
82.
156.
Oh,
Oh, wow. Ah, man. Gee,
Microsoft's down 3 points.
Like, can you imagine if when we actually just started drinking beer, we were like, you know what, we should all just throw some money down on Sam Adams. This beer thing, I think, is going to take off. We would be doing this for every day for free.
Yeah, man. I mean, Ballast Point just had a deal last year for like $1 billion.
Yeah, but that wasn't a stock deal, was it?
That was an IPO.
Yeah, they did. They definitely were involved in an IPO.
Huh.
Or were taking the steps with the SEC to start to be into an IPO. I don't know, man. I'm not financially analytic, so I'm just kind of going like.
Just aggravates me in like one of the 3 things in the world that I pay attention to. I missed that because I was just a little too young to actually have rolled the dice on it.
Yeah, I mean, it would have been sweet to buy some stock of Apple too when we were young.
Well, I did. So.
All right, so then you should be retired.
I don't really go to work every day. I just I'm like, I like do like a Costanza face. Just walk around like,
You nap under your desk.
If you look aggravated, people leave me alone. So
That's true.
Fine. All right, so we'll do a thumbs up, thumbs down. Bubby, you let it off. So what do you think?
Yeah, I'll go. Again, I'll go again this week with 1.5 thumbs up.
You've been razzing the freaking half thumbs. Yampo.
I'm a true rat style. 1 thumbs up.
1 thumbs up.
I thought there was more coming at the end of that.
1 thumbs up the butt is actually
Right,
the actual
yes.
wrath rating. Paul.
One
I'm new
nostalgic
here,
thumb
fellas.
up.
Yeah, I do. I agree. I think it's a nostalgia thing. So I mean, it would be funny to see if you just drop this in just a regular beer drinker's lap right now. Somebody that has had the opportunity to taste some of these fall beers that they've released since Sam Adams started releasing it, and see if they actually have an affinity for it. or if it is just nostalgia for us. But I give it a thumbs up as well. So take that for what it's worth. We recommend Sam Adams Oktoberfest. All right, so we're going to do something a little bit different here, and we're going to break down some preseason NHL and NBA.
Woo! Oh, man.
So for those of you who are still listening, thanks for listening, and we'll catch up with you next week. We've got a couple of really big NHL guys on the show today with Brett and Yampo. So why don't you guys lead off? Preseason hockey, is it something that you watch?
Not for me. I'm not a big preseason hockey guy.
Is it on TV?
Yeah, the Devils will be. They'll be on. I mean,
a lot of the games aren't. They play in kind of unique places. Like the Devils finish up their preseason up at Army, West Point. So a handful of the games aren't really televised. But you can't put a lot of stock in.
Hi everyone, I'm David Quinn. I live at 105 Nelson Street.
Hey, David Quinn. David Quinn's actually a huge Devils fan. We'll get to him a little bit later. But, the split squads, these guys send half the team to Philly and half the team to Montreal. Brett, bring it back, Brett. Bring it back.
David Quinn, sorry, man. Okay.
Jeff, you may not watch a lot of preseason hockey. Nobody does. They do split squads. It's a bore fest. They're trying to figure out some synergies. Who's going to make the team? Who's getting sent down to the AHL?
Yeah, that's all it is, and that holds no interest to me. But I guarantee you my TV is going to be on opening night. I think the Devils, Yabo, Thursday night?
Thursday night, yeah, playing in Florida, your old stomping grounds.
Florida. It's great. I have back-to-school night that night. I have to find out a way to –
Hockey starts this week.
Hockey starts Wednesday night, Jeff. You had seen the promos last night on Football Night in America with Doc Emmerich.
No, I was watching another battle on the gridiron between our two presidential candidates.
Yeah, I'm excited, man. I can't wait for the season to open up. I don't – Yabo, some discouraging news. I looked up the Vegas odds for the Devils this year.
Hold on. Vegas does odds for hockey?
Vegas does odds for a lot of things, surprisingly.
They did it for me grabbing a 20 pounds of pumpkin beer out of the fridge.
They did. They put it – you grabbing a beer out of the fridge at even.
That's right.
All right, sorry. Go ahead. What's encouraging news about hockey and gambling lines?
I think the Devils are like 85-1 to win the Eastern Conference and like 440-1 to win the Stanley Cup.
Listen, I'm going to tell you something. I'm not a degenerate gambler, but I am a big gambler. Ask my wife. I do not bet on hockey. Okay, you can't bet on hockey.
All the lines are 1.5.
It's not possible.
Well, single game.
It's like betting on baseball.
It's
every
worse.
line. Every line's 1.5.
Yeah, but that's betting single game. Like, would you lay money to see like a result at the end of the year?
Nah, I'm instant gratification type guy.
That sounds about true.
Yeah, you know me.
Yeah,
I think some interesting storylines for the season coming up is there's a lot of new faces and some new places, some big trades in the offseason. PK Subban going to Nashville and Shea Weber, the captain of Nashville, being traded for PK up to Montreal. You got Taylor Hall coming to the Devils for Adam Larson. Adam Larson playing in Edmonton. There's a lot going on. Brian Elliott up to goaltender for the St. Louis Blues, signed with the Calgary Flames. So there should be some good stuff. It's the centennial year for the NHL. Big year, a lot of outdoor games, a lot of celebrations. So for those of you who like hockey, we'll come at you with some good stuff later in the year.
Where they're playing they played multiple outdoor games for the last couple of years, right?
Yeah, they did.
To be just that New Year's Day game, right?
The Winter Classic, and then they started the Stadium Series where they had some outdoor games. So the Stadium Series is happening again this year. You got Pittsburgh and Philadelphia at Heinz Field.
Well, that should be a good one.
The Winter Classic is out up in Toronto and the Red Wings again, but it's the Toronto Maple Leafs centennial as well. So it's a big year for the Maple Leafs. They're still going to stink, but they're going to have a good time celebrating.
Run by Lou.
Never
Right. I just checked it online. Devils 85-1 to win the Stanley Cup. The only teams with worse odds: the Arizona Don't Call Us Phoenix Coyotes, the Vancouver Canucks, and the Carolina Hurricanes.
Yeah,
I mean
that seems inappropriate, doesn't it? Never mind.
It is. I'm telling you right now, the Devils aren't the fourth worst team in the league. There's no way.
Not even close.
But we'll, whatever. Good. Keep us down there. I don't want expectations on us.
Can we talk just for 10 seconds about what this Vegas hockey team is going to be called?
Oh my gosh, it's going to be. And by the way, for all you local guys, George Peros, a local guy, who lives in Vegas, recently hired by Player Safety and the NHL to operate out of Las Vegas. Now I'm convinced there's a dual role here.
That he's got something coming in with the franchise.
Either that or to make sure that these guys don't go out there and absolutely
go nuts,
go
bonkers.
berserk, like their heads explode, like Jerry Boyle at a White Castle drive-thru.
They shouldn't be
circa 99.
They shouldn't be that bad. I mean, there's teams in cities, right? I mean, like you have a team in New York.
Brett, there's teams in cities. This is Las Vegas.
I know. I just don't. I don't know.
I don't think it's any crazier than having teams.
Exactly. Thank you. That's exactly my point. I think
J.R. Smith got into debauchery in freaking Cleveland. I'm pretty sure if these guys want to be clowns, they're going to be clowns no matter where they are.
Yeah, there's people that can handle the city and people that can't. There's people that,
Some people can handle Vegas.
Some people can't handle Vegas. There you go. That's exactly it.
But how do they sustain a fan base out there since it's
They claim that there is one. I don't know. I've never done the research.
Well, I think it's easy to kind of generate that hype machine to get everyone amped up to get a team out there, and we'll see what kind of sustainability they have.
There's a fan base for two guys dancing around in tights with tigers to sustain a career out there. There's got to be enough people that'll pay. They can do some deals with casinos to help.
Yeah, you're gonna have pit bosses giving out tickets for $10 bets. Like
that's exactly what I was saying. Like Vegas should be embarrassed if they don't fill the stadium like almost every night, because there should just be every single casino should be tied in with them to generate revenue. It helps everybody.
Yeah, I mean, I know what our road trip game is going to be, Brett.
I don't think that's a bad idea, man. I'll tell you that, because I'm not pumped about LA.
It'll be a road trip too, because God forbid Brett gets.
Oh my God! Enough with the airplane. Get in a plane.
I flew down to Nashville this year for the All-Star game.
I don't remember Nashville. It's 4 nights of bourbon.
Yeah, it is.
Which typically for you is just Monday, Tuesday,
Wednesday, Thursday.
But the name, man, they're going by the Desert Knights or the Silver Knights or the Golden Knights.
Are they really?
What is up with that?
I thought they would be like the Blackjacks.
Oh, come on.
I was just thinking like the Craps.
Cool, I like that. The
Craps
Craps.
is good.
Vegas Craps.
That is good. I'm going to make a call to my former coworkers, see if I can get that one locked in. At least on the list.
I can't be the only one that's thought, oh, we should really name this team the Vegas Craps. Not even Las Vegas, just the Vegas Craps.
Like
the best part is going to be
devil.
when you go up to a beer vendor at the end of the second intermission, they give you the old blackjack, like changing.
Yeah.
For those of you listening, I clapped my hands and went upside down.
The visual works great on an audio podcast.
Yeah.
Stupid.
Damn, we're not simulcast on CBNC or whatever. I can't even speak. 20 pounds of pumpkin in my head.
Happens. But no, I mean, as far as any sports franchise going to Vegas, I think it's a great idea. I mean, I know the Raiders are trying to get over there eventually. Maybe are they waiting to see what hockey does? Do we know if that's a part of it? Is it like a dual venture? Like, what's the story with it, or is it just something completely independent?
It's going to have to be independent because that hockey arena is small.
Good one, Brett. From an ownership perspective, it's two independent ownership groups. I think the group that spearheaded the move doesn't have any ties to the Raiders.
That'll be interesting. I mean, but they're apparently going to play on the Strip.
Yeah.
It says here again, and it's Wikipedia. It's on the internet, so it must be true. It says that they're going to play their home games at T-Mobile Arena on the Las Vegas Strip.
Yeah.
No?
Good.
The
That's awesome.
Sand Knights. The Sand Knights. And then November 18th, it's going to be great. They're revealing the name on November 18th. Should do a special podcast.
I'm telling you, Las Vegas Craps.
Right.
And everybody wears either 7 or 11. There's no other numbers on the team.
Oh, literal Jeff.
How we roll. That's how we roll around here. All right. Segue out of the NHL to the NBA. I don't really even care to talk about the preseason in the NBA, but I did want to mention the Derrick Rose trial, Brett, because you had brought it up a couple weeks ago as a first pitch. Have you been following any of it? Because I know that you were pretty fired up that it wasn't getting any coverage before. It really hasn't gotten any more coverage. So have you followed anything that's gone on?
Not really. I followed a couple here and there, like, oh, he testified, oh, she testified, but it was just reading like the blurbs from ESPN.com. I haven't followed up more on it because it's just really posturing, I guess. This is where kind of the lawyers get involved and try and paint pictures of people. And I'm not like some conspiracy theorist or anything. I'm just saying that's what their job is. That's what they're paid to do, and create doubt. So that's what Rose's lawyers are trying to do right now. So, when I'll let the process play out, and hopefully the proper evidence is presented, and we'll hear a verdict and move from there. But I know it started out as a civil trial. It wasn't a pursuing any jail time, but I guess it's crossed over to that now, and
that I didn't see.
And criminal charges have merit or something like that. I'm not. Don't quote me on that, but I heard.
No, it's too late recording on
it. That's true. Good point. I think I heard Friday Francesa saying something about that, so I could have misheard. So don't hold me to that. But nonetheless, let the process play out. I'm still fired up about it, but at the same time,
when he took the stand to testify, he tore his ACL.
Very possible.
Is there any truth to that whatsoever?
It's very possible. Unconfirmed reports.
He was used to wearing his uniform of a suit for the deposition, so that was good.
I'm excited to see if he has to do any Kobe Bryant bounce back and forths, like fly from game night in Phoenix to have to testify somewhere in Chicago and then fly and meet the team somewhere.
Did Kobe do something wrong?
Yeah, he got accused of raping a girl, Paul.
But he didn't do it.
He
right.
got accused.
It was locker room talk, guys. It was locker room talk.
That's true. That should have been Kobe's defense. Like, what? It was just locker room stuff.
That was Trump's defense, right?
Udonis Haslem, speaking of basketball, he got really upset about that.
About?
He's like, I don't know what locker room Trump's been hanging out in.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Well, we know which one you've been hanging in.
Yeah, it's a different lot. I can tell you stories right now where NBA players brought their guns into locker rooms. So.
I lived in that city. I know.
Yeah.
Worst place on earth.
Yeah.
The nation's capital.
Sorry.
Yeah. I heard they run promotions down there though for that type of thing.
Like what?
Like you show up to, like they do like throwback nights when they play as the Bullets.
Go ahead. Where are you going with this?
Yeah. Where you go?
Oh, that was it? Okay.
Guns and bullets. That's it. That's all I had.
Okay.
Nothing.
No, there's definitely crickets.
Does anybody have anything they care to talk about with the NBA? Because I think it's a little too early. We got another 2 weeks before the NBA starts. I know the NHL starts this week, you said. So we got basketball doesn't start till
Wednesday.
Almost Halloween. So
no, nothing. I'm excited to see the Warriors play this year.
You know what I did see? I did see your boy Jeremy Lin airball a layup, which was interesting.
I did not know you could do that.
Oh no, he 100% airballed a fast break layup.
I'll tell you what, I wasn't expecting him to surprise me a lot this season, but that's one. That's definitely surprising.
Long way to go.
I think he'll be fine. All right, so Brett.
Jeff.
Baseball playoffs.
Yes.
Last segment for today's show, baseball playoffs.
All right.
We got the Cubs, the Red Sox, the Jays, all involved in series that in some fashion or another either resulted in a sweep or are close to a sweep. The Dodgers and the Nats were playing as we started today. Has that game gone final?
That game has gone final. Washington has won.
They take a 2-1 lead in that series, correct?
They take a 2-1 series lead. They'll play game 4 in L.A.
Okay.
As we talk right now, the Red Sox are down 4-2 to the Cleveland Indians in the bottom of the 8th. They have a runner on first with 1 out.
So they
are on the verge of being swept.
Thank God.
Couldn't happen in Maple City.
No. I wouldn't. I wouldn't put the nail in their coffin yet. Fenway just like freaks me out. I could have like a 9-1 lead in the 7th at Fenway, and I don't feel comfortable.
Well, that's because you're not a very good pitcher.
That's fair point, my friend. The Blue Jays just steamrolled the Texas Rangers, and that wasn't much of a series. I'm continuing to be impressed with Toronto's offense. It seems that Tulowitzki's finally starting to come around and really crushing balls for them. He did not do that for me in my fantasy season, but it's nice that
safe to say that Tulowitzki didn't crush your balls.
He did not crush my ball. These hot guys aren't crushing my balls a lot.
Soundbite.
So, and Edwin Encarnacion, who I would love for the Yankees to target this offseason. He had a great first series with Toronto. So if Toronto's pitching can hold up, they're going to be a really tough team to beat going forward. Their pitchers only have to get hot now for like 15 games. And yes, I said get hot. So, we'll see, but the offense can definitely carry them. Last series, the Cubs go for the sweep tonight against the Giants. I'm full on board the Cubbies train this postseason, so I'm rooting for them. I hope to see the Cubs do great things going forward. It's going to be a very fun October. Most of these games have been a ton of fun to watch, especially the game 1s and game 2s of the first round. So I'm excited. It's my favorite time of year, unless the Devils are playing in the Stanley Cup playoffs. But that's really we'll see what happens. We'll see how Cleveland ends up against Boston, and we'll see what Chicago does. But by next week, we should be well into the belly of the league championship series.
Oh, great! Another opportunity for more terrible slogans on T-shirts.
MLB postseason starts.
We came to reign.
Is that theirs this year?
Yeah. So what? What does that even mean?
I don't know.
It's like a WNBA slogan.
Ugh.
We got
next.
next.
Stupid.
That part is we all knew it too. That's the worst part. It's what obviously worked.
So it worked. Yeah, right.
I think that the White Sox had one of the worst ones back in the day, like 06, 07. It was like back to the grind. Like, what, you don't want to play? I don't get it.
Joe Madden's got the Cubbies this year with "Try not to suck."
Tell me that.
That's their slogan. It's been
No,
their
that
slogan.
is actually what Andrew said to me every time I pitched in high school. Come out to the mound before the start of the game and say, "Hey, don't suck."
That's it. It's on
Didn't work.
T-shirts. Look out. The Cubs have it on T-shirts and everything. It says "Try not to suck."
They also have shirts that say Yabos on them too.
They do.
Do they sell it like to fans?
Yeah, I think so. I think my dad has one actually.
That's awesome.
You should get us tickets if they make it.
I know my dad just went out to Pittsburgh the last week of the 2 weeks before the end of the regular season to see Chicago and see Joe out there. He said he had a really good time and it was a lot of fun. He said he went on the day that the Cubs got their 100th win, and Joe was saying to my dad he was really excited. Winning 100, it meant a lot to him because his first year in Tampa he lost 100, so it was kind of a reminder of how far he's come so far in the game, and he's very excited.
Come from a team that has a $40 million payroll to one that'll spend whatever it takes to break this freaking.
And took the $40 million payroll team to the World Series one year.
True.
Do not forget that.
And overpaid a terrible outfielder this year.
Yeah, they did. He's not starting tonight, I don't think, actually.
He shouldn't.
They did overpay him, but, what are you going to do? Sometimes with those big contracts you miss. Still, they have so much talent, it doesn't even hurt them, which is scary.
I don't know how any fringe baseball fan could not be rooting for the Cubs right now.
Yeah, you got to, right?
Yeah, I mean, to me, they don't have anything that I would root against like Boston.
Yeah, but you know what? Boston didn't have that in 04. They had everybody. They had casual fans being like, look at their beards and long hair. Aren't they so funny?
But isn't there a part of you that just wants to see it continue? Just get them to Game 7 of the ALCS or NLCS and just Bartman too.
I can't. My heart would break if they got Bartman.
No, it wouldn't. You'd pop open another 20 pounds of pumpkin and call it a day.
It wouldn't break. At the end of the day, you'd be like, oh, wait, no. I root for the Patriots and the
I'm okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to survive.
I got two hot guys here. I'm golden.
Sucks for you, Chicago. Go have some deep dish pizza, bratwurst. Jackass.
Is that directed at Sean?
Yeah. Suck it, Sean. You quit today. You're done. You're done. You know what I did see, and I don't know if this is going to happen, but I know that you had talked about Vin Scully a couple weeks ago, Brett. I saw that they were trying to arrange. I guess Fox has the World Series.
Yeah, I think so.
They were trying to arrange a way for him to come in and call one or a couple of World Series games. Did you see any of that?
I didn't. I knew there was speculation early throughout the season, basically. There was constant speculation like, oh, if the Dodgers get in, will he call their playoff games? And then eventually he was like, no. I think he's going to stick to that because the one thing about Scully that he really likes to pride himself on, and I believe him, is he doesn't want to make himself bigger than the game. And I think if the Dodgers reach, are you talking about having him call any World Series or?
Yeah, I heard regardless of who it was that Fox would get him to call the game.
I still think he thinks the attention would be too much on himself and take away from the actual game, and he's not a big fan like that. But hey, listen, everybody has a price, right? Like, I mean,
that's what the $1 Million Man always said.
That's what Ted DiBiase said, and I'll always continue to abide by that. I just think everybody he can be bought. I guess it just depends on how high Fox wants to go with that number.
But isn't the Dodgers cable deal with Fox?
Yes, I think they're Fox Sports West.
Yeah, I think
Fox Sports LA.
So I think he has an existing relationship with the company.
Yeah, it's possible.
Does he call that with Joe Buck?
Way to ruin.
That's what I do.
Scully coming back would put Buck with him.
You know what he should call it with Joe Buck, and Joe Buck should just have to sit there.
But that's
you go to the booth and Scully's just giving him like an evil eye, just looking at him.
But that's
that'd
a thing
be
too.
fine, right? Scully.
Awesome.
Scully doesn't call games with a color commentator.
Yeah. No, it's why I'm saying.
So
Joe Buck has to be there.
Just physically be. Actually, it would be funnier if they put a cardboard cutout and just made
Joe Buck.
A cardboard cutout.
That schmuck in the stands that interviews some random person about what they're doing in the bottom of the fourth inning.
Yeah, I'm fine with that role for Joe. Or double book him on Sunday for the NFL. Just be like, hey, buddy, you can do 2 games on Fox.
So
this
painful.
weekend.
Nothing worse than that combo. Him and Aikman, just snooze fest.
I feel like it's every Cowboys game. I don't know why, but I feel like every Cowboys game is Joe Buck. And I'm like, God, you make as if watching the Cowboys doesn't suck enough, you make it even worse.
I hate Joe Buck. I honestly don't know anybody that watches sports that's like, you know who's good? Joe Buck.
Did you ever hear Jim Brewer just rip apart Joe Buck?
No.
It was a couple years back, and you have to YouTube it or something because he goes into this whole rant about how these announcers these days, and they try to be he does some crazy ass Joe Buck voice, and
does he go like? Meh?
I think so.
You're doing it a lot of justice right now.
Yeah. No, this is good.
Just shut up. I came in late and still catching up here.
So, Ras, what do you think? All right, cool.
That's actually a typical delay of time for Ras. So that actually worked perfect.
Well, I would like to see it. I mean, I know that Joe Buck aside, I think it would be really cool, especially if the Dodgers do make it to the World Series. I'd like to see them throw a couple games at Vin Scully and just say, hey, go out in the World Series. I'm actually hoping that they don't make the World Series, that it's the Cubs, obviously, as we just said. But I think if it is the Dodgers, why not? Why not? You don't want to piss off Joe Buck? I mean, who cares?
Is that the new shirt? Why not piss off Joe Buck?
Why not piss off Buck?
I'm going to get those made.
You should.
I'll wear it next week. I'm
going to wear it to the Nats game when all those suits hand me free tickets in a couple weeks.
I'm going to be jealous. I'll tell you that much.
Instead of Brett's stupid Patriot shirt.
Are you wearing a stupid Patriot shirt tonight? You are.
I am.
Boop, boop, boop. What does a triple XL Patriot shirt go for these days?
He doesn't wear. See, the funny thing about Brett is he doesn't actually wear the size he should be wearing. I don't know if you ever noticed that.
Schmedium?
It's always a schmedium.
I don't think this is a schmedium shirt.
Yeah. I'm sure Sherry would love to put that on later. That'd be good.
She actually is going to put it up on the Facebook garage sale for $5, lightly worn.
She might. She very well might.
First of all,
If anybody knows Brett, there's nothing that he has that's lightly worn.
Fair.
That is true.
It's all been completely sweat through within 10 minutes of owning it.
No, that is 100% accurate. It sucks too. Like, I can't even tell you how many T-shirts I go through on like a yearly basis because I just sweat through them, and then they smell terrible.
Freaking glandular problem.
It's gross. It really is.
And it's not like you're doing anything. You're just sitting there.
Yeah, for the most part.
Wow, this beer is 8%. I'm really gonna sweat.
I am gonna sweat this one out.
Good times.
Give me Vaughn. Give me Rick Vaughn.
He wants the writing, the vile thing, the grab your throat and choke thing.
Blow it out your ass, lard mouth.
Oh my God!
All right, it's time for this week's closer trivia question. And this week's question takes us to the world of the NFL. We had talked a lot a couple weeks ago about the Cleveland Browns, and we had talked a little bit this week about the awful New England Patriots and the returning Tom Terrific. So this week's question is Tom Brady. He started his first game in 2001. And for those of you paying attention, the Browns, they came back to Cleveland in 99. Okay, so it almost lines up. It's only a couple of years off. So Brady started his first game in 2001, and since then, the Browns quarterbacks have thrown 256 touchdowns, whereas Brady has thrown 431. Excluding the 2008 season, which Brady missed due to injury, in what year of Brady's career did he fail to throw more touchdowns than the Browns team did? So in what year of Brady's career, excluding the 2008 season due to injury, did Brady fail to throw more TDs than the Cleveland Browns? Hit us up, turn2podcast@gmail.com. You can find us on all social media by searching Turn2Podcast. Brett will post tons of pictures on the Twitter of him with some very attractive young men for you to check out and to reach out. Nothing, Brett?
No, I mean, I guess, yeah, I'll do that. Yeah, dude, I'm on board. Find a whole bunch of hot dudes.
Saturdays are for the boys, Brett.
Hashtag that.
I think somehow we need to work in the Brett hangs out with hot guys and try not to suck. I think if we could get those two together, we'd be in good shape. Nothing. All right.
Right, Rest?
Yampo, thanks for joining us today. Thanks for coming on, man.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys. I had a good time, and hopefully I'll get my technology straightened out for the next go-round.
Yeah, definitely. We'd love to talk to you in a week or two about the NHL season and where it goes and kick off. So thanks for coming on.
Thanks, fellas. Have a good one.
We got some fun stuff coming up this year with the NHL. We're going to do a couple of segments, bring in some different guests from all over the country, try to get some perspective. Paul, thanks for jumping on a little bit late. I know we had some issues that we had to take care of, but glad you joined us for a beer in the second half of today's show.
Yeah, man. Good time as always. My bad. Jets season is over, so I'm ready for the NBA, NHL to start up.
I don't even know what the Jets are. Brett, say what you got to say. Take us home.
No, nothing. Just I had a great week, guys. This was a lot of fun. Thanks for having me as always. I can't wait to do it again.
I love hot dudes.
Yeah, these hot guys. So there you go.
I'm not playing the drop.
No.
Come on.
Come on. Hang on.
No.
All right, I'm done.
Come on. Give me Vaughn. Come on. Hang on.
Desperandum, dear lady. Across the desert lies the promised land. Goodbye, Mrs. Gloop. Adieu. Wiedersehen. Gesundheit. Farewell.
Fare thee well to you, my own true love. River Mercy, fare thee well. I am bound for California, a place that I know right well. So fare thee well, my own true love. When I return, united we will be. It's not the leaving of Liverpool that's grieving me, but my darling, when I think of thee. Now I signed on a Yankee Clipper ship, Crockett is the name, and the captain's name it is Burgess. Say that Jesus no big shame. So very well, my own true love. When I return united we will be. It's not the leaving of Liverpool that's grieving me. But my darling, when I think of thee, now I sail with Burgess once more. Now I think that I know him well. If a man's a sailor, he will get along. If he's not, then he's sure in hell. So very well, my own true love. When I return united we will be. It's not the leaving of Liverpool that's grieving me. My darling, when I think of thee. All right, Dio. Oh, the sun is on the harbor, love. Oh, I wish that I could remain. For I know that it will be a long, long time before I see you again. So farewell, my own true love. When I return united we will be. It's not the leaving of Liverpool that's grieving me. But my darling, when I think of thee. One more time. So farewell, my own true love. When I return united we will be. It's not the leaving of Liverpool that's grieving me. But my darling, when I think of thee.
Well, my hangover's gone and I'm thirsty for more.
Come on, hang on.
These hot guys